Girls Hoops is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Kentucky Educational Television Fund for Independent Production, the Appalachia Production and Education Fund, the Kentucky Arts Council, the Kentucky Humanities Council, and the Kentucky Foundation for Women.
It's girls high school basketball action on the Foxy Sports Network. And a lot of folks in the gymnasium tonight. This is big time. If you can't make it to the gymnasium, you want to tune us in all night tonight.
I started when I was in the 5th grade. They had the basketball team at Cowan Elementary. I had always saw my dad watch the Kentucky Wildcats, of course. And plus, too, I loved playing. You get used to everybody in the community knowing you, people coming up to you, you know, and you have no idea who they are, but they know you because they see you on the ball court. It was a year-round thing. We never stopped. You started, as soon as school started, you started into some type of conditioning program. Then practice started. Then you went into the games. You went all summer to ball camps. There was times that you didn't feel like that you could take another step. When you get shin splints and crilled ankles, blisters on top of blisters, but you just had to suck it up and go on, I guess, as they said, or that's what he used to say anyway.
We were, of course, played in the old Hazard High School gymnasium, and it was usually full. I did not play in big black boomers, though, Betsy. We got our shorts pretty short. They're shorter than yours.
Ours are down to about here.
That was our goal, was to get them as high as we could.
It was the thing to do. Everybody played basketball that could get on the team. And it was just there, and we did it. I thought nothing about it being anything unusual to play basketball.
When I was playing, I became very popular. My nickname became Shorty. I did not resent being called Shorty. The fans would yell, "Throw the ball to Shorty, throw it to Shorty."
We'd be all dressed and come out and run down those little steps and get out on that court, and it was a big thrill. The gym was so small, you couldn't whip a cat in there now.
Our uniform was just bloomers, and then our stockings came up above our knees. There was no skin showing. There was never any indication of it being illegal or indecent. My parents were very strict of morals and decency, and they never objected to my playing basketball.
We had a very strict superintendent of schools, and he was not too happy when we started rolling them up, but we got by with it.
As far as I know, we played boys by the boys' rules. If there were any dainty little delicate rules, I don't remember any.
When they first started playing, the court was divided, and we weren't allowed to get out of those squares. But it became a style then for us to play the same as the boys' rules. That was when we became interested and more talented and free.
The year we won the state championship was 1930. The Hazard boys were supposed to win, and all the attention was on the boys. The state tournament was in Lexington, and there we thought huge gym at the time. So of course we were frightened, very, very frightened, and wondered what would happen to the poor little mountain girls.
They called it through on a telephone at a barber shop, and people went to that barber shop and listened to the results of the game.
We showed them that we're pretty good fighters.
How you gonna keep them down on the farm after they've seen Paris?
And then, for some reason, girls' basketball was completely wiped out and stopped, not allowed in any school.
It just seemed like it just suddenly, we heard the word, no more basketball, and of course we all were devastated. We understood the reason that they discontinued was because it was not good for the girls to play. It was too hard exercise for them. So we didn't appreciate that at all, but that was the reason that we got.
Some of the younger girls had their eyes set on a basketball career, and they didn't get to play. They didn't have it anymore.
So they stopped girls' basketball for about, they didn't play it in the 30s or the 40s or the 50s or the 60s.
You made the assumption that that was something that boys did, not girls or women. It just seemed like a boys' sport. I don't remember feeling any jealousy that there wasn't a girls' team, or even thinking about that there should be a girls' team.
We had a ball go outside on like the old outhouse buildings, and he'd put a goal up there, and all the boys in the community would come down and play, and they'd play baseball out in the yard, but I was never allowed to play athletics. I was supposed to grow up and be a cheerleader.
There was a part of me, and I can remember looking back, that was very frustrated and a little sad that something I loved so much I didn't have the chance to do.
I heard a lot of things all my life about, girls can't do this, men do this, women do this. It was sort of segregated even in their social lives and in their families. And it carried over into the schools.
So when I was in junior high, I kind of succumbed to social pressure and ran for cheerleader and got it. So I found myself cheering on the sideline, watching boys my age try to play, knowing in my heart that I was probably at that time as good, if not better, but being on the sideline cheering. And then I'd find myself with my hands down when I should have been doing something very synchronized with the other girls, that I would catch myself yelling at the ref or yelling at the players to do something which I didn't think they were doing.
Jerry would inadvertently pick the basketball up and shoot baskets. And Pete at that time wasn't too interested. But he would occasionally, he and Jerry would play one-on-one against each other. And Jerry got beating him, and then she challenged me, So I'd go out and I guess I would placate her and, play around with her something. Jerry would pick my brain. And I often would tell my wife, Jerry's learned quite a bit about the game. I sure wish he was a boy, in those days.
After the boys' high school game would be finished and my dad would be talking, I'd get out there on the court and make shift. We'd make balls with Coke cups and cans or what have you and play.
And Dickie Parsons, assistant UK coach, said to Pete, he said, "Who is that girl down there?" He pointed down the far end of the gym. And I turned and looked, you know, wasn't even thinking about it. I said, "Well, Dickie, you know her, that's Jerry." He said, "Is that little Jerry?" I said, "Yeah, that's Jerry." He laughed, he said, "I'm telling you the truth. She's beating the tar out of those boys." Said she can flat out play. And that was really the first time that I had really become aware of her ability. The high school basketball coach wanted Jerry to come out for boys' team her sophomore year. Well, this legislator from Perry County, his mother played at Hazard High School.
When I was in the legislature in the early 70s, I recognized that participation in sports in school was important for everyone for what was supposed to be the original reason, to teach you how to keep healthy and stay fit.
On account of me.
The state passed this bill that said there shall be opportunities for girls to play high school basketball in the state of Kentucky, period.
People came just because of the oddity. People were so curious to watch the girls. I'll never forget, the boys coach at McDowell at the time, he advised us that, well, you know, girls aren't going to play anything but zone. They're not going to play man to man. Well, of course not. It's not going to be man to man anyway. But so we practiced all week zone. They're, you know, girls, they're going to play zone. So the tip-off happens, and Allen Central, they didn't play zone. They played, let's call it a person-to-person defense.
So 8-6, Grigsby quickly across the time stripe, puts up the one-hander from the free throw lane and knocks the bottom out. Beautiful driving shot by Jerry Grigsby.
First game she played in at McDowell in the old gym, she scored 38 points.
I think the most he had ever had in one game in his high school career was 36.
So I had to take that, you know, and that was fine. I didn't care as long as it was my daughter who broke the record.
So Jerry Grigsby breaks the ice for the McDowell Rebelettes, or rather Daredevillettes. Long pass down to Grigsby, goes in for the layup. She's got it. Jerry hits the free throw. So that's 3 in a row. Pete, she can shoot free throws better than you could.
That's absolutely right, Roy. She can hit 75, 80% easily.
Grigsby drives the length of the court, puts it up, got it. Jerry Grigsby, all-state guard for McDowell, the state's leading scorer, has scored over 4,000 points in her career.
When it was sanctioned and we all knew that we were going to have teams, it was really refreshing. It was quite different from what it is now. From the beginning of the year to the end of the year, you could see so much improvement in your players. You would think it was tremendous, and so it was very rewarding. Although I do think that the longer that it evolves, I think it made this sport more competitive.
We expect to be at the state championship this year. The final game, we expect to be there. And when we get there, we expect to win it. And those expectations are what these girls have too.
We had a Pee Wee team, and I just played on it till I was in 3rd grade. It keeps you out of trouble. It helps you meet more people, make more friends.
I put a shot, but he told me to play the next side. No, it's all right. Hey, I played hard, man. Say that every time y'all shoot. Don't worry about it. My fingers killing me. Okay. Oh.
Is it over? No. Started to get unsmart, didn't we?
Yeah.
Box is to overload the ball side and get what we can over there. The pass back across is when they cheat. They want to bring 5 across, we'll take it across. But we've got to take advantage of the overload. But one letdown by one person and the whole system breaks down. You understand that? One. Just one of you breaks down.
and it breaks the whole system down. You win as a team, you go down as a team. Maintain that. We don't even realize probably we are undefeated because we don't like losing.
Tennille says her dad has been the most influential person in her life, and she would like to be remembered for saying, "You better think before you do it." She is the daughter of Clarence and Dorothy Blair. The accomplishments of these seniors are numerous. Their overall record for 3+ years is 119 wins and 10 losses.
We set the goals here first. And that goal is to be the state champion. And there's only one team in the state that's going to finish this year winning. If you lose one game, everybody goes home.
I'm mostly nervous. I'm not scared, I'm just nervous. I'm afraid I'm going to do something wrong. We should have set the ball up, worked it around, got it inside. We didn't. If I messed up like 2 times, then he would take me out. I thought he should have kept me in, even though I had 3 fouls. Whenever you get like that, get excited and nervous at the same time, you usually mess up a lot. I can't forget it. My dad, my grandpa, that's all they ever talk about, saying how we didn't play together and that we didn't look like a team. I try to forget it, but everybody else always says something to me about it, and I had to start talking about it. It makes me mad because they always, throw it in their face because they say, "Oh, Whitesburg's supposed to be real good. Y'all didn't even make it to the finals," stuff like that. I'm like, you get pretty tired of it sometimes.
I like the unity. I like being around my teammates, because we're real good friends off the court. We hang around together and do things together like that. And, I just like, working together to reach a goal, to win. I'm happy at Hazard. I mean, it's not very big, and, I know everybody knows everybody there, and the teachers, they can pay attention to you. They know you and stuff. We were really nervous. We pretty much calmed down on the ride to the gym and everything, but, we got there and we saw that huge gym. kind of got us nervous again.
I get so excited at games. You can hear my mouth all over the gymnasium. I'm fussing at the referee, and my little girls are running around, and everybody knows how into the games I get because I keep her stats and stuff.
She left her job today to come down and watch.
I never watched girls before she started playing, and it really surprised me.
The guys at school and some of my friends, they'll tease me, you know, they'll call me superstar and stuff like that. Kind of makes you feel bashful, but then kind of helps build your self-esteem. They started to make little runs at the end of the second quarter. I was a little tired, you know, and I thought we were all kind of tired and worn down. We were kind of getting a little bit nervous, you know. We was kind of rushing things, and so we got out there and we just fell apart. We couldn't get an offense going or anything. I think the reason we lost is because we turned the ball over entirely too much. I just hope to get better and better as the years go on, you know, and I hope that we'll make some more trips back to the state tournament.
She got to go to state tournament every year now, or it'd be a bad year.
I believe I'm just so proud of her. But she works so hard.
Sometimes I feel pressured, you know, that I have to prove myself to so many people and things like that, but, you know, I don't know. Makes me nervous sometimes, but, you know, I just deal with it.
So we have 2 trophy cases of retired jerseys at our school with the summary of their accomplishments and their pictures in the trophy cases. And of course, Jerry's the only girl. So she played 3 years for a career scoring average of 46.1 points per game. I think Wilt Chamberlain, as a high schooler, averaged 46.5 points per game.
Well, I know I miss playing ball, but I miss my friends and stuff. But mostly basketball, because that was the best thing to have.
When I started as a head coach, our program wasn't winning, and so we had to do little things to encourage them to play, make them feel good about what they were doing. I've developed since then the philosophy that they need to be proud of whatever they do. So winning is important, but it's more important for me and for them that they feel good about how they play.
Like Betsy's shirt says, basketball is life, and I don't know that basketball is life, but I do think there are a lot of things that come from basketball that you can use in your life, because you have
It helps you grow up.
It does help you grow up, and you get discipline, and you have to learn to be a good loser as well as a good winner.
If she wants to be, she may be the next generation. I don't know. I'm not going to force her. If she wants to play, she can. If she doesn't have to. I'd like to see her do so, though.
I was real fortunate and I had a really successful high school career, but I think what transcends all that was just getting to play. It was just getting to play which meant the world to me.
Girls Hoops is made possible in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Kentucky Educational Television Fund for Independent Production, the Appalachia Production and Education Fund, the Kentucky Arts Council, the Kentucky Humanities Council, and the Kentucky Foundation for Women.